You, what's up? It's Chris. Parn hash splash. Chris Carr. All right, let me get myself in the light so you can actually see me. I'm over here working on photos. Yeah, that's right. In the crib. All right, so what's up, y'all? Just checking in. I want to do a quick update. I'm trying to get better about utilizing my YouTube channel. Feel free to like, subscribe, comment. I want to know your thoughts and your opinions. And I'll be doing more of these daily updates. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're enjoying yourself. You can hear me clearly. Let me know if you cannot hear me clearly or if there's some type of issue. But I wanted to drop in and quick. We're going to run through these updates. All right. One, Brittney Griner is released from prison, is traded, I guess, as they say. They did a prisoner swap. So the merchant of death, as the person has been dubbed, is getting out and will be released to Russia, and then American citizen will be released. NBA basketball or WNBA player, if you are unfamiliar. And there's a conversation first of why does she have to play in Russia in the first place, right? Like if she were being paid properly and if the WNBA had the budget and the money to pay this player, would she be in Russia in the first place? Then she gets arrested for, from what I understand, a very small amount of hashish or whatever, and gets locked up to like serious jail time. So I'm excited that a person's not in jail. Like I am a firm believer that the carceral system and incarceration and the way the nation state runs them is not done properly. And there are very few people I think should be in the types of jails that we have, and especially very few people who have not committed violent acts. The idea of putting one of those people in a jail is just like bananas to me. So I'm so good. She's not in jail. Other people are upset about it. Like, oh my God, they're going to let this other guy go and this and that and this and that. And people are acting like they know who this person was, like the Russian guy, and how dangerous he is and what could happen if he's out. Now, again, he might be a very dangerous person. I'm not saying he's not. But what it looks like to me is more hate and more people who are upset at a Black person, more people who are upset as a woman, more people who are upset at a woman who's Black, and more people that are upset at that Black person that's a woman that's queer. That's an athlete and like is a national treasure of sorts, if you believe that athletes are national treasures. So it just pulls the wool, it pulls the veil off, and now everybody can see how folks really feel about Black women and like how much distaste there is and lack of like celebration around it. And I'm not saying people should be running in the streets like, yay, she's out. Like, I mean, again, that's not, I can't tell you what to do, but I do see some people talking shit, and it's confusing because if those people were to be like, whoa, the guy that they let out in Russia is so dangerous, and I were to ask them to explain who he is and what he's done and why he's being held and for how long, they can regurgitate the article they read today or 3 days ago or a week ago. No one I'm talking to knows who this person is, who this guy is, what the history is behind it. They just are hating on this Black woman that got out. Now, second, recently there have been a lot of people with the artificial intelligence and who are sharing photos that they took, and the photos are AI generated. And there's a discussion like, wow, look at all this money you're spending on AI and not supporting real art. Whoa, AI is going to destroy real art. Whoa, the computers are taking over. Oh my God. And like everyone's in a fervor or all has their panties in a bunch. And you already know me. First, I'm a human. The art that I make cannot be replicated by a machine yet. Now, you can take the images I make and figure out a way to create images that look similar. You can take my voice and take all the words I've ever said and run some algorithm or some AI programming, and you can have a rap song that will sound like what I sound like, but it's not me. The computer cannot come up in front of you, give you a piece of paper, you write something down, you give it back to me, and then I freestyle about it, and while I'm looking at your emotions and giving you the emotional exchange. It's just they can't do that yet. So I'm not worried. And when it comes to my visual art, I make a lot of art. And if I can utilize AI or I can utilize these tools of technology to make more art, I will. And I would also tell people, if you don't like the way technology is going, what are you going to do to not rely upon it and not expect the people in your life to rely upon it? How are you going to accommodate boycotting technology use and technological advancement? And that's an age-old question of, you can't stop the technology from advancing. You can choose to implement it or not. And if you believe all the 50 million, 1,175,000 dystopian futurists, the computer's already won. Okay. Like we are signing our own certificate of being useless. the more we expect the computers to make decisions for us, the more we implement them in all of our activities. Like the fact right now that I can speak to people all around the world is dope. The fact that right now I can communicate with somebody all the way in Laos, or somebody all the way in Kenya, or somebody in Brazil, that's dope. But like I said earlier, I want you to come see me in real life. I want to come do a show in your living room. I want to read my book in front of you and the family. I want you to come show me your art and talk to me about your life experience. And so I'm into the human connection. But when we can't do that, the technology is awesome. But the computers won a long time ago. And I don't mean really won. Like, I don't think the computers are going to take over like that. But again, think of how many times you're speaking to somebody and they're at work and they look in their computer and then they tell you, look, the computer says this, so this is what I have to tell you. And you say, well, yo, your computer's wrong. Okay, I have the paper document. I was there in person. You were there in person. Fix it. And they're like, I can't. The computer's telling me what I'm allowed to do. So that's been happening, right? And if you think of how many levels, like the math and the algorithms and the predictions in finance and in all types of industries, whether it's medicine, finance, logistics with shipping and import export, the use of computers and artificial intelligence and machine learning is real. So then also the word artificial intelligence. If we think about the Turing test and the birth of computing, computers, like your brain is a computer. It is a computational device. An abacus is a computational device. So when we think of computers and the modern expression of it, and the general processing unit and this transistor-based machine and an electrical signal processor, people have been warning about what will happen. And will we get to a point of where the computers think they're alive, or where the computers can imitate people? Or how do we differentiate between the sentient and non-sentient when we think about machines? Will there be a point where the machines are alive, or where they have a sense of self or identity? And that's different than a conscience and a spirit. But Alan Turing had the test of, like, it's not really a question of whether or not it is sentient or has identity, but whether or not it can fool a human and humans in general into thinking it has sentience. And forever, it's been very hard to develop processing and software and computer stuff where it's not obvious you're dealing with a chatbot, but we're getting there. So is that frightening? Yes. When people won't be able to tell who's human, who's computer, frightening. Well, part of that will be how much do we change as humans to adapt to the computers? The more we behave like computers, the more difficult it will be to tell us apart. So one easy thing to do is don't behave like a computer and really bathe in your humanity. But that's a whole nother conversation. So I'm not super worried about AI. What were some of the other topics? Then, hold on. There's been other stuff. Herschel Walker apparently talked about zombies and werewolves while running for Senate. That's it right there. I mean, that's I'll let y'all discuss that. And then hold on, let me look up. Can I see my title here? I need somebody to help me out and tell me like what I put as the thing here. Let me see if I can bring it up. Oh yeah. All right. Celebrity meltdowns, Jerry Jones and more. All right. Yes, that's right. Celebrity meltdowns. Now your boy, the rapper formerly, I'm not even gonna get into his name, but your boy went on to some type of Proud Boy show and was talking about should Jews apologize or should Jews forgive Hitler and all this other shit. Utter ridiculous. All right. Keep in mind, celebrities are paid to be utterly ridiculous. There are some celebrities that I'm sure are great people. I'm sure a lot of, humans are humans. But also keep in mind their job is entertaining us. When you watch news and we think representation matters. So we're like, wow, there's so many Black people now who are broadcasters and who are on the news. That doesn't mean they're talking about what Black people think or feel. Like they are the personage or the face of someone else's writing. And so when you look at television and the news, it may look like a Black person saying it, but there's someone else writing it. And so I don't believe any majorly distributed media all like in totality, right? Like it's not like just because someone writes it or says it on NBC, I believe it. I want to do more research. I want to go find other sources. So I'm into the primary, secondary, tertiary sources and to try to see like how to parse out the threads that may seem more likely to be true than not. But so you got celebrities who don't read and who aren't well informed going onto very large platforms saying wildly erroneous shit. Why are those platforms distributed? it's really easy. Like my account gets throttled and blocked all the time on every social media I'm on, whether it's because of the social justice issues I discuss or the images I put up that might include the human form. And for some reason, if you are not a very short or thin and small woman and you're in a bathing suit, just because of your body size, not the type of suit or you being nude, like people find that objectionable, and I can get my account throttled because I shoot people of all sizes. I do photography. But so the platforms figure out a way to manage me, but they can't figure out how to manage like racist or white supremacist or anti-queer or anti-human platforms. So you have a platform that's allowed to exist, that's wildly popular, and a musician goes on there and talks about, well, Jews need to forgive Hitler. Wildly erroneous. But do you know what's actually being achieved there? Is he's also reflecting to all the white people out there telling black people get over it or to chill out or to be nicer to white people. You're asking us to apologize, and our Holocaust never ended. If you are to take the Holocaust seriously and you are to say what happened to people in Europe and also all over the world in terms of anti-Semitism, if you are going to say that that's horrible, then how do you accept the Holocaust that happened to the Africans? And I don't just mean the Africans in the various countries on the continent of Africa, but us, the diaspora, and the people all around the world that have been displaced and shipped and moved and who decided to immigrate, seeking better opportunities. And in a way, like y'all want us to forgive everything. Like when I say y'all, I don't mean any particular white person. What I mean is, like, as a culture right now, whiteness is doing the like, hey, we apologize. We know we fucked up. Here's what we're going to do to correct it. It may not be what you want, what you need, in the timetable you're expecting, but we already said we know it's fucked up. So like, can y'all forgive us and just chill the hell out? And it sounds ridiculous when Kanye says it about Hitler and Jews, but do you sound ridiculous when you say I should be happy with how society has moved? Do you think I should accept the incrementalism? And when you look at the segregation ended towards the end of the 50s in the sense of Brown versus Board of Education in the 50s, and then the Civil Rights Bill and some of the Civil Rights Act and some of the things in the 1960s. It's 2022. So we're in my mom's lifetime, she was in segregated education systems. So in my mom's lifetime, if she were 20 years older or even 10 years older, she wouldn't have been able to go to certain law schools in this country because she was Black. And these law schools would have been state-owned. So like, how does that work? So if the state doesn't support our education within the lifetime of my mom, what do we expect to happen in my generation, or would it happen in her, the previous generations, or even the one after mine, the two after mine? And so the prison industrial complex here, the actual, like, not just enslavement of Africans and the people brought over here, but the social genocide that's occurred for the last however many 100 years post-slavery, when you think of Jim Crow and the lynchings and like outright just terror that we've had to experience, and slow death. Like, yeah, we no longer get lynched in the same way, but when you think about hypertension, high blood pressure, heart issues, diabetes, mental health, all these areas where we seem to suffer at a rate that doesn't match our population. And that's part of the slow death process and part of the continued genocide against Black culture. So one thing that a musician who doesn't read, talking about politics and history, being that famous person, one thing they are right about is, do you care about everyone equally? It doesn't look like it. Now, again, as a historian and a person that reads, I feel very comfortable saying what I'm saying, and I can give you the data to back it up. If you think I'm wrong when I talk about majority culture and European culture, let's go to the books. Let's go to the quotations. Let's go look at the sources. Let's go to the history. Let's go to the documentation, the data. It's there. But I'm not a famous musician, so you don't really listen to me. So you mad when the famous musician talks history, but when the person who knows about history, or at least learning about history, because like, I don't know, I wasn't there, but at least learning and like spending time to try to understand it. Well, you gonna listen to me? We'll find out. I want to hear what you have to say about this stuff. And then also within that time period, Jerry Jones, there's like a photo of Jerry Jones hanging out at a protest, and the protest was in protest of integration. Jerry Jones is the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, has been for decades. And for decades, I thought that dude was racist. When I was little, I looked at him and I was like, that dude's definitely racist. And I thought I was being biased. I thought I was being not like fair. I thought I was like, well, why do I think he's racist? Because he's an old white guy that runs a football team in Texas? Nah, I shouldn't look at it like that. Oh, well, we see how it is. And people are like, yo, well, that was when he was 15. Yeah, I was 15. You know what I didn't do is go to a rally to limit the rights of women. When I was 15, I didn't go to a rally to limit the rights of other community members, whether they're migrants or immigrants or who knows what. But I didn't do that at 15. And whenever people try to say, well, this is just what was done, it wasn't. Actually, when you look at slavery, it's not like the majority of white people owned slaves. It's not like the majority of white people even understood what was happening in terms of the magnitude and the scope and how it was functioning. But they were complicit. But it doesn't mean that like they had slaves, right? And so there's often a misunderstanding of like what role people had and how most people knew slavery was bad, but also weren't willing to stop it. But that didn't mean they went to the rally to support it or to the protest to stop Black people from emancipation, And so when you 15 and you at the rally and you looking at these little Black children and you upset that they may be coming into your space, that's a problem. And then you now are an owner. So yeah, you own a football team, but you're an owner. Isn't that wild? Like you're in a profession where there are a whole lot of Black people and the owner is referred to as such, like not the founder, not the CEO, I'm the owner. And what is it that they exchange? Well, sure, entertainment, like sports, entertainment, but humans, their likeness, image, and name can be purchased or licensed. And when they're drafted, it is an auction block and people's lives are exchanged for money. You pay the person this amount, they go to this place, they damage their body. Hopefully everyone makes enough money in the process so that life moves on well. That doesn't happen to a lot of people. And so when we look at who owns in sports and whose bodies are being destroyed, it's Black bodies being capitalized upon by white folks. And when those white folks are at protests to not integrate, like when they are showing up to be like, we don't want integration. And then they end up being NFL owners and run a sport that's full of Black people that are being mistreated. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. And when people are like, why would you boycott the NFL or why would you boycott professional sports? I'm telling you right now why I would, because it's a labor rights issue. And if you have a whole bunch of Black people that make a whole bunch of non-Black people money and they get paid the least, I'm not going to like it. And they are the ones most affected and damaged by it. I'm not going to like it. So the people working concessions, are those companies Black owned? The media and television relationships, are they Black owned? Are the distribution and the satellites and the antenna and the engineering stuff, are they Black owned? The people building the stadiums, are they Black owned? The communications companies that sponsor the names all on are they Black owned? In this whole matrix of professional sports, Black people play. Sometimes now we're starting to coach, but getting into managerial ownership and then all the 50 million, 1,100 ancillary businesses, where are we at? So to me, that imbalance is too great. I'm not fucking with it. And I can say that I really enjoy sports. Like at the community center where I work, I'm in the gym with kids. And so we were just playing tag and the kids thought they was going to get me. They was looking like, yo, you old man, you can't run faster than us. I hit one of the homies with a 360 spin off on him. I was feeling good. Like, I loved sports. I played sports most of my life. But I'll take the loss on watching sports if as a collective society, if a whole bunch of us did that, they'd have to change how it works, right? If when Kyrie Irving and some of these other basketball players started speaking up, if we walk out and don't support the NBA when they try to make him apologize, but don't make Jerry Jones apologize in any significant manner, then we walk out and we don't give them their money, things change, right? It's funny, even during pandemic. And now, again, we're back to like, what are people supposed to do? Play sports, right? Someone watching me would say, yo, these people make millions of dollars. When you make $4 million and someone else is making $300 million off of you, I just don't rock like that. Like that's just, and you're the one that can get hurt. You're the one that moves away from your family. You're the one that has to alter your life, based on if you get traded or not, or if your coach makes a decision and change up personnel. You are treated as chattel to be moved around. right? You think the players and the executives are all treated the same in the sense of job security? Probably not. And you also notice in sports where there are a lot of Black people, how guaranteed contracts do or do not work. And so it's just something that I've been thinking about, like in the sense of how could I really get excited about sports? Yes, the athletes make millions of dollars. The people they work for make even more, like a lot more. But if the athletes start talking, like if they start saying things publicly that their franchises or their teams don't like, they get suspended. They lose bread. And do I expect any of them really to work that hard to go that far to then challenge the people that pay them? We all know and understand that phrase, like, don't fight the hand that feeds you thing. And I'm not trying to compare Black men to animals, but what I'm saying is the people who are quote unquote owners do use a carrot and stick technique of, oh, you want to get popping on media? If it makes us money, we like it. If it celebrates the things that we are behind, we like it. But, oh, you're going to say something about George Floyd? Nah, y'all need to shut up. When folks are going to walk out of the NBA bubble, and pardon me, Barack Obama had to sit down with him, with a couple of the players, and was like, look, y'all need to stay playing and figure out a way to get your message across because you have such a big platform. Now, I get it. A president would say that. A person like me would say, y'all should have all walked out. All the NBA players should have walked out and held in solidarity, and the whole world would have seen what was up. Now, it's cool that as a concession for playing, we had the Black Lives Matter shirts on. We had the basketball court painted. I feel that, but me, like the way I am, I'm gonna say they all should have walked out. So when I think about like athletes and I think about my expectation that they're gonna challenge social systems, or this idea, well, they rich, they can do whatever they want. They cannot do whatever they want. When you're in a contract for 20, 30, $40 million, you definitely cannot do whatever you want. You got to get the money. And the way you get the money is to keep doing what they're telling you to do. And I wonder why we're all okay with that. I think I've been dwelling in the question of like, we get so upset when certain groups are targeted, and we should be upset. So when people say, you know, all Jewish people run media, that's not true. And so we should get upset. And if it leads to people being violent towards Jewish people, we should be upset. You know, I do have to ask, we get upset about that being said. Are we upset about the mistreatment of Black people in athletics, in government, in healthcare, in education, in finance, in housing? I can run through how many different industries. So it does make me ask, like, you know, are we out here alone as Black people? And the way I grew up, I was kind of taught like, yo, if we, like people in my family, our community, our neighborhood, our city, if we don't look out for young Black people, nobody will. And I was just looking at my mom like, I hear you, but yo, like, you're a teacher at Howard University. There are dozens, if not hundreds, if not thousands of other educators. We don't have to worry about that. Like, people do care. And now I'm starting to see like, nah, we do have to worry about that. It looks like a lot of people don't care about us. And if we don't care about us, then what happens? We're going to expect people who never really spent time with us, who understand culture, our history, our experiences, to take care of us, to have any understanding of what that would mean. And and when we look at playing a game of capitalism, what do I expect? Do I expect these athletes to bail after going that far and now being on this major platform? Or what happens if they keep playing, right? If they keep going with the way the system is, will anything change? So I'm going to let y'all figure it out. I just wanted to drop in, get your thoughts. I'd love to hear what you have to say about it. Any solutions would be wonderful. If you have an idea of like how we start our own leagues or how we can get more involved in ownership and get the financing up to be more heavily involved in the other industries attached to athletics. I know me personally, I'm going to be doing a lacrosse initiative, and I'll be working with Black lacrosse players and folks in hopefully the PLL and other national professional lacrosse leagues. But if you have ideas, let's build. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, tell your friends, come see me in person. All right. Peace, love. Oh, yeah. This is another broadcast from Chris Carr, Parnash, co-founder, Black Land Ownership. We out here. Brooklyn Wildlife, Gamba, everything. I got bars, a whole lot of raps.